Hello everyone, this is Father Vaccaro, and I just wanted to take a moment to share a thought, particularly about suffering. This time has been a time of, I think, particular suffering for our whole world, and maybe for some of you watching, I know certainly for me, it's been a time of suffering, and the suffering comes in different forms. Of course, there's the suffering of knowing that there is sickness out there. Maybe someone that you know has either died or is sick. And not necessarily from the virus itself, but just family members that are sick and are experiencing death. So there's that grief. There's also the grief of knowing that much of the normalcy in our life has been just totally suspended and plans have been interrupted. Good plans have been interrupted. There's probably the anxiety that comes, perhaps some of you are experiencing a loss of work, either being laid off or furloughed or your numbers of hours reduced. Or on the other side, there are people whose work is essential and so your hours and the stress level has increased. So there is just a lot going on. And I think all of us have to be able to say, you know, the Christian message is not that we look at suffering in the face and say, you know, it doesn't matter, everything's going to be great, just put a smile on, get out there, pretend like nothing's wrong, be cheerful, tell jokes. No. The truth is, and you know, here we are standing next to the cross and we're about to enter into this Holy Week when we know that God entered into our suffering. Suffering is, in whatever form it takes, whether it's great or whether they're just small sufferings. God knew that this was the greatest source of separation from Him, right? Because in suffering, we often think that God is farthest from us. God has walked away from us. We're on our own. We just have to do the best we can. God has forsaken us. But during Holy Week, God is giving us the opportunity to see and to observe Him entering into our suffering. Not running away from suffering, but taking it to Himself. And by taking it to Himself, uniting all of us, uniting all that we're going through to Himself. He walked up Golgotha carrying our suffering. He hung on the cross for us. And He endured His suffering to bring our suffering into His as an offering to God, and God inserting Himself into it to bring new life. And from that suffering came the resurrection, came the very gift of faith, came the gift of true hope that endures through the darkness. And during this Holy Week, especially if you are experiencing suffering, God didn't come to just say, yeah, you know, it's gone, you know, be happy. What He did was He came to unite Himself to you, to take you to Himself, and to say that even in the midst of this time of trial, God is still working, and something great is going to come from this. God has a plan. And if you unite your suffering to His, give it to Him. Say, Lord, I'm going to hang in my unemployment, in my sickness, in my sorrow, in my isolation. I'm going to unite all of that to you on your cross. I'm going to hang there with you. Lord, I'm giving it to you because you are giving me the place beside you in your suffering. If you do that, your prayer will be united to His as a wonderful offering for the salvation of the world. Remember, Jesus did His greatest work in His time of greatest suffering. When we suffer, it's Christ bringing us closest to Himself to unite us to His greatest work. So don't think that God has abandoned you. In fact, He has drawn closest to you and has entrusted to you the greatest share of His greatest work, which is to die with Him on the cross, to die spiritually, to die emotionally, to die to many of the things in this world that give us comfort, but to die with Christ and to know that where Good Friday takes place, Resurrection Sunday will follow soon after. So be of hope, know of Christ's presence in your suffering, know of our prayers, and during this Holy Week, walk with Christ to the cross. Be with Him there on the cross. And when Easter Sunday comes, know resurrection is coming for you too. God bless you.